Are you looking for a way to scale your short-term rental business and buy more properties? Well, co-hosting might be the right fit for you. Welcome to the Co-Host Coach podcast with Joe Roney. This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Coach. I am Joe Roney, and I'm super excited today because check out my new skateboard. Like, seriously, this is probably one of the best gifts I've ever been given. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or whatever, it is a Savvy STR agent skateboard that Trish Bartley and Tyler Kuhn got me for being with the Savvy team for over 1 year. That has been an absolute life-changing year and has been amazing. So wanted to bring it on and publicly tell them thank you so much. I really, really greatly appreciate it. They say you're only one relationship away from changing your life, and that relationship happened a little over a year ago when I got hooked up with Trish, and she got me hooked up with Tyler, and it has been amazing. So, just wanted to publicly say thank you so much to them for this opportunity. It has been absolutely fantastic, and we've been able to help a ton of short-term rental investors over the past year or so. Now, on to today's topic. We are peak season's officially over, right? The busy season's gone. The summer season is past, and now it's time to get in and do some maintenance, right? So, we always talk about going into the peak season, right? In that January and February timeframe, you want to get into every single property, make sure you're, as Luke Carr would say, preparing for battle, right? You're getting the houses ready for battle. Well, now it's time to, this is the end of peak season. We're not preparing for the next battle yet, but we're ripping off the Band-Aids and making repairs, right? So in the past 2 weeks, I've had, lots of houses that we manage. I think we have 13 total now in our portfolio between owned and managed properties. And there's just a lot of things that happen during a peak season. And as a property manager, you are responsible for that. Whether you're a co-host or a property manager or, self-managing your own properties, whatever it is, you got to prepare your house because we are going to get people renting our properties over the next 6 months before the next busy season. It's great to sit back and say, I finally got a little bit of rest and I'm not getting 100, guest messages every single day because we're not, 100% full. Doesn't mean we're low occupancy. I mean, we're going from 90 occupancy to 60, but we're getting some weekdays open. We're getting even the occasional weekend open now. So, now is the time to make sure that you're going into the properties, doing a inspection, or if you're not doing it personally, having your handyman or your maintenance team go in and say, okay, what's broke? Like, we've fixed a lot of stuff throughout the year. We've had to put new toilet paper holders on and towel bars and, fix door handles and change batteries and, even had ceiling fans break, but there's still a lot. And the first thing is, what does the house look like 48 inches and down, right? So when people are coming into your properties and they're dragging their luggage through the hallway to the bedroom, you're getting nicks, you're getting scrapes, your handrails are getting worn, you may have stairs that need some repair. So all this stuff is stuff you want to do now because right now your owners just made some money and they have some money in the bank. So don't wait until the money runs out at the end of the slow season to try to do big items. Right now is the time to have those conversations with the owners and say, okay, we need to do some maintenance. We need to upgrade the properties. We need to do, some regular maintenance first. And I talked a few weeks ago about then the next step is, what upgrades you're going to do in the off season. So, but the maintenance piece is big. And we were in a couple of our properties last week, and one of them actually we found out actually has a roof leak. We noticed a little bit of mold mildew in the bathroom a few weeks ago, and we had it cleaned. We didn't have, it was booked up, so we couldn't get anyone to get into the ceiling yet to take a look at it. But it was a third level bathroom with no ventilation, so we thought, okay, it's been 2 years since the house has been going. Maybe it's time to just get in there and put some new kills all and check the ceiling. But nope, it's actually a leak in the ceiling. So we had some water intrusion sometime over the past 2 to 4 weeks, and we've gotten some moisture in there. It looks like a little bit of mold coming through the drywall, and we're gonna have to go in there and first of all repair the roof, and then secondly, are we gonna have to cut out drywall? Or are we gonna be able to have a mold remediation come in and just make sure everything's safe for our guests? But that's just one example, right? We have houses that have nice freshly painted walls. They're not shiplap, they're not anything sturdy, so they're pretty nicked up. We're having to go buy some paint and paint those walls from about 4 feet down. This is why it's really important, number one, to stick with you don't never want to paint semi-gloss because that's going to show all the imperfections. But like an eggshell type finish paint that is easily washable. Some of these walls you might be able to use a magic eraser, whatever it may be. We're not doing like a full deep clean, but kind of a semi deep clean in a way. So, what other maintenance items? Looking at all your patio furniture. Is all the patio furniture holding up? Is it going to hold up through the off season? Is it going to hold up for another year? Do you need to replace some chairs? Do you need to replace some tables? Whatever it may be, right? So, this is the type of stuff that has to happen this time of year because you don't want to wait until January and February and try to do all of your properties at once. So that doesn't mean you're going to do them all this month or this week, but you can start making plans, having conversations with owners, whether you're doing the work and charging them or you're having maintenance team come in and do the work. Or, we actually just had some owners leave one of our cabins down in Branson this morning, and they spent the weekend there and they bought a couple new TVs. They repaired a bench. They, did a little touch up paint in a few spots. They're amazing owners, right? They understand that this is their cabin and they want it to look really nice, and so they stayed in there and did some of the work themselves. I have another owner in Panama City Beach that does the same thing. When there's a problem, they'll go down there and take care of it. Most of the time, we're hiring it out, or we're going in to do it ourselves, or getting our maintenance team to go in and do it. So, but like I said, these conversations, this is the time. Air conditioners need to be serviced. If they haven't been, make sure you're changing your air filters, checking your refrigerator filters, everything, all the appliances, making sure everything's working. So, almost need about 100-point checklist to go through a house and just touch everything. Light bulbs and picture frames and anything like that. So a lot of stuff happens during the peak season. So as a property manager right now, this has got to be your number one focus going into shoulder season if you were in a traditional summer market. And that's what we're doing now. Shifting gears, if you're in a winter market and you're coming up on your peak season, this is the time you're preparing your houses for battle, right? If you're in the Arizona market or in a mountain market, over these next 2 months, August and September, you are getting your deep cleans done. You are getting your, a lot of the same stuff we're doing at the end of season maintenance, but you're really going in and preparing your houses for the winter season battle, making sure you have your snow contract set up, and all that good stuff. So, a lot of what we do as property managers is planning and preparing and trying to prevent those bad situations. So, that's really the main thing that I want to discuss today is what does that end of season maintenance look like for you? So, kind of exactly what we do, just so I can break it down, is we're going into every single property and we're going in with a little bit of a checklist in every single room, and we're looking at bed frames, seeing if there's any loose bolts. We're going and looking at dressers, making sure there's no loose or broken drawers. Yes, your cleaning team and your maintenance team's usually handling a lot of the stuff throughout the season, but we're definitely painting everything 48 inches and down, and going through and repairing railings and checking towel bars. So every single room has its own small little checklist of things that we need to physically touch. Um, Sit on your couches, sit on your chairs. Are they sunken in? Have they been worn? Another big thing, if you have sleeper sofas, pull them out. Make sure they work, right? Those sleeper sofas, man, they get a lot of wear and tear. And those, parts bend and break and miss bolts and things like that. So definitely make sure you have sleeper sofas get opened up, making sure they're working. Look at the mattresses, even in your regular beds. Lay on the bed. Are your mattresses getting worn? So these are all things that you need to be focusing on as we're going into shoulder season. Just because we're not handling as much, guest issues and peak season, stuff going on and having as nearly as many guest messaging, it's still really, really important to keep doing the job and keep getting prepared so you can have another successful season next year. So that's all I got for this week on the co-host coach. I appreciate you joining us. And again, thank you, Trish. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you to the Savvy team. This amazing gift. For those of you who don't know, I've been a skateboarder my whole life. And I still try to go to the skateboard park at least once a month or two if I can. It doesn't always work out with this career or with these businesses, but it's something that we try to do. So this one's not going to be a skateboard that I ride. This one's going in my office wall, but super excited. And thank you again, guys. And for the listeners out there, I'll see you guys next week.